And we move on to the Bootstrap panel. And I think there's a fair bit of excitement about this, and this is coming into the last panel for the evening at this point. So could I ask the panelists to come up? Nitin Yadav, Jem Pandit, Sujit Kumar, Vinny, Ankit Jain, my operator, and Gautam Gandhi. He doesn't look it, he looks very young, but he's got a great deal of experience. He's been an angel investor. He's worked as head of business development for Google, and he's currently partner at NYTCP, an early stage venture capital fund and a full service advisory firm. Works with a variety of clients from early stage startups to growth equity companies as part of the management team reporting to the CEO. NYTCP works alongside the executive management team and board. Over to you, Gautam. And once again, a reminder to bring in questions early from the audience, lest we run out of time at the end. Thank you very much.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Loud.
Raise your hand if you can hear me. Thank you. Well, first of all, I just want to thank the audience. We're the last session of the day, and I really want to give a big thanks to the audience for coming to our panel and, right after your samosas and chai, so it's so great to see everybody. And also want to give a big thanks to, I think everybody, if we can give a big thanks to the Thai organizers who put together the whole event, especially all the unsung heroes who really put a lot of effort. The first event we've had in person in 3 years, so it's really great. The energy is great. Many people still don't have their business cards printed because we're so out of it and been scanning business cards and things like that. So glad to see everybody here. When we were putting together this panel, this session, we wanted to do something a little different. Right now there's such a craze about funding, getting investor money, who's funded you, how much funding have you had, but we don't really talk about businesses that have started without funding. And I thought we should present this alternative path. And it was very interesting. It was very hard to find companies that have been in success for many years and haven't raised traditional venture capital. And so I just want to also give a big applause to the 3 companies that are here. I'll just introduce Nitin Yadav from Jem Pandit, Sujit from Winnie, and Ankit from my operator. These guys have been operating for 8 years now and are really the true unicorns of India. So no funding at all. So please, let's give a big applause to our panelists. Look, maybe a little more enthusiasm, guys. Come on, these 8 years, no funding. I mean, these are I think the real true role models of the industry. So what we'll do is, why don't we start with a little introduction. We can start with Nitin and just go down, introduce yourself, your name, your company, where you're from, and a little bit about what your company does.
Hey, hi. I'm the founder of Jem Pandit. We are an online store for colored gemstones. So rubies, sapphires, emeralds. So we are in the gems and jewelry space. Bootstrapped, just a little background over here, not from a business family, not from the gems and jewelry trade either. Was working abroad in Silicon Valley, decided to move back over here. My dad was is a retired school principal, mom a bank officer, but decided I wanted to do something of my own. And 2013, I started Jem Pandit. And happy to share, Gautam, that this year we got 3 awards from the Gems and Jewelry Export Promotion Council, which is the apex body in our trade for the highest number of international clients, one of them. So yeah, that's where we are, 120 people today. Offices in Gurgaon, Jaipur, and Bangkok.
It's amazing. Truly remarkable. And when did you start the company?
2013.
How much funding have you raised?
Big zero.
Okay, 0, yeah. Please.
Sure. Hi, everyone. This is Ankit here from my operator. So it's a cloud telephony platform, business communication SaaS. We help small, mid-sized businesses manage their call communication over the platform. Currently around 7,000 businesses across India, a few hundred outside India are using this platform. I was born and brought up in a small village, West Bengal. No much exposure there, but had to move out early for education, and that's where I got to learn about these ecosystems, etc. Started pretty early of my career. I just worked 1 year for a startup and then decided to start my own venture. Pretty naive, to start at that stage and that to bootstrap, but somehow, we are naively enthusiastic about it. And 200 close people spread across India. We're like fully remote after COVID, thanks to COVID, which told us how to work remote, work on cloud, work from anywhere. That's been the journey so far.
And how much funding have you raised?
Zero, a big zero.
Okay, Sujit, please.
Hi, I'm Sujit, co-founder of Winnie. It's second largest online gifting platform as of now, having its omni-channel presence. We have delivery in 700 plus cities and 40 plus countries. We have retail physical stores in 23 states and 5 UTs. We have more than 200 plus physical stores, and we opened this in last 2 years. Coming to D2C, we have served till now around 5 million customers. We have presently monthly run rate of around 15 CR. And we are serving the industry. It is very competitive, and we never focused on competition. We focused on contribution, and hence it became a celebration for us. And we have 400 people working for us. We are based out of small town Panchkula, and I myself come from Basti. Most of you won't be knowing the place. It's near Ayodhya. So I studied there, and when I was studying in my village, there was no electricity. So I studied there, and then I came to Delhi, have done physics honors, and then moved to Bangalore for MBA, worked with a couple of companies, and then started this venture in 2013.
It's truly amazing, Sujit. You were telling me, when did electricity come to your village?
It's 4 or 5 years back.
Can you imagine? It's really just a truly remarkable story, and everybody's coming from such different backgrounds, but nobody has come from any family business or had a head start of any sort. And I think this should give really a lot of people in the audience, these are like role models that you guys, if you work hard and really keep at it, you can be that way, and you don't need to raise venture. So we were talking earlier, this raising venture, not raising venture. I'm going to start with Nitin and kind of go a little bit. It was like an accident, so to speak, as when we were meeting. It wasn't the path that you decided or didn't decide. So maybe you can a little bit tell us about, you were telling me a little bit about revenue-based capital, customer-based capital, I think is the word used. And you can tell us about what you meant by that and how you started.
So 2 parts of the question over here. So for the first part, bootstrapped wasn't necessarily a choice. Profit from day one was a choice. So what I was very clear about was taking money from the right sort of guys who are aligned to that vision and those values. Since I was a single founder, didn't have the time to necessarily go big time into searching for funds, and didn't come across folks that were aligned to those values. So profit was a choice from day one. I was very clear. I still don't understand the loss-making part of building a business. And today, like the second part of your question, we are revenue funded, right? So this month's revenue drives next month's cost. So we're revenue funded, and it is probably the hard way of growing, because every month is a new challenge.
Okay.
Yeah, so I agree to the revenue funded part, and that's where the most interesting piece comes in. As a bootstrap founder, we have to be focused about revenue from day one. For me, and then for me, even profit wasn't a choice. I really was looking for a growth, and a lot of people think that bootstrap means slow, bootstrap means just ugly business, etc. But bootstrap is not about that. You still can grow fairly. Need to build a right fundamental. So for me, it was not profit, it was growth, and I continue to focus on growth side of it. Even when we were bootstrapping, we definitely were not burning money because we didn't have the money. But the whole focus was still around growth. How do we continue to grow whatever resource we have, whatever money we have, whatever team we are able to build, but never lose the focus of growth. That's the ultimate truth for us.
So for us, it was all about creating value for yourself, creating value for working for you, creating value for the ecosystem, for the around society, and after all, creating value for the customers. So if customers are satisfied, you are valuing them, and you are solving a problem, or you are delivering something that is of value, then the customer, they become investor to you, because the lifetime value of customer, that becomes big, and they keep on coming without any acquisition cost, and that add up the growth. That's where the revenue comes, and that can be put back into growth for acquiring new customers. So it was all about value, and we started in 2013. We initially started with one model, then we pivoted to another model. We were having our own delivery boys, and then we moved to vendor type systems, and then we backward integrated to retail, and then we backward integrated to manufacturing. So that was part of process, and where we can add the value. Whatever product, whatever service we are providing to the customer is of value or not. Coming from a small city, we know the value. Since we are into gifting, the festival is of utmost importance. Birthdays are very important, so you cannot mess up. So rather than going for customer delight, we have gone for customer orgasm kind of thing, where the customer is very much delighted because he is sending something to somebody else. So, and that to their loved ones. So that's where, that is the journey that we have.
I want to actually make this more interactive. It's the last session. So we have a lot of seats in the front that are empty. If you guys want to move up. And let's actually start with questions. So I don't know where the mics are. We can, anybody has questions, this is the time to start asking questions. Oh, great. We have an enthusiastic person. Please, if we can get our mic up here. While the mics are coming, okay, great. Just introduce yourself, who you are, and who you want to direct the question to. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Monica. I'm an entrepreneur as well. And the question applies to everyone. Okay. Just to be honest, would the things would have been different if you have raised the funding? Because you are solving a problem and doing a charitable work, not a charitable, but a good thing to the society and the world. So do you think if you would have raised the money, it would have been grown multiple times or would have solved many other problems? So
Who's the question?
it's to everyone.
No, well, we'll have to pick one person.
Okay. I want to, sir.
Oh, Sujit.
Because you have faced so many
Sujit, before you answer the question, I think there's another question we were discussing earlier, which is, some of you compete with businesses that have raised money. Some of you have not, right? We were talking about that earlier. And, so do you regret, or would your things been differently if you had raised capital, and how would you compete, right? Is that?
Yeah, because somewhere I'm getting the feeling that if you have raised the money, it's sort of that, because as Nitin sir said that maybe investors may not be aligned with your thought. That's why you haven't raised the money.
Okay.
So that's why I'm looking for the direction.
Yeah.
Because
Why
I
have
want
you
to
not
choose
raised
my
money?
investor before he or she can invest in my entrepreneur. So that's why I'm
I think raising money is not the answer to every problem or solution. So it's tough to decide that whether it was better to raise money at the time, because we never chased investors. We were only after value, creating value. So, and there are pros and cons of raising. You'll be able to scale much easily. You'll be able to hire much better team. But in that part, what happens? You miss on the margins. So there, ultimately, customer is the king, customer is the god. So you take margins, a bigger margin when you hire certain things. You put it on your manager, you put it on that person, that yes, he's capable enough, he'll be coming in the system, he'll be providing the value, he'll be sharing the vision. But it is very difficult for a person who is coming from outside and sharing the same vision that you carry. So, yes, you can scale a bit quickly when you raise money, but if you don't raise money, you learn a lot. You learn a lot how to manage each and every department. You learn a lot where that value chain system is breaking up. So I have seen investors, once they raise money, they put everything to the team and they start doing branding. Yes, first build the brand and then the business. But our thing is first build the value, then the business, and then the brand will get automatic crept in. So that's, I think, and it's better sometimes, whatever happens, it happens for the good. So I think if we would have raised, we would have given, I think, a lot of equity to our investors. Now we hold 100%, and we are at such a run rate where so many unicorns, they don't have that much revenue in place. So we can raise investment anytime. So we are evaluating some of them as of now. We haven't gone after them, rather they have gone after us.
Okay,
Yeah.
before you start, I think earlier, actually this morning, Deep, if you heard him, he said equity capital is the most expensive capital. So I assume all three of you own 100% of your businesses, correct? I mean, that is really remarkable.
Except for the
And
ESOPs that we've
how
written.
how many people can really say that at the end of the day? But Ankit, you had a little bit of a tough time because your major competitor, if we can say the name, I'll let you say it, had raised significant venture capital.
Yep.
And there's such a glamour and such a halo, around people raise venture capital. And once you have that glamour, you're in the news, and people, even talent, easier to attract talent because they want to work for the venture-funded company. So it's very interesting. Anyway, please, Ankit, go ahead.
Sure. So first thing, and just to add my perspective to her question, if I would have raised earlier, I would have surely failed. And the reason I'm saying this is, there is always a right business model or time when you should raise. So funding is like a rocket booster that attached to your business or attached to your car. But is the car or the road ready for it on the first place or not? If you're raising before the time, if you're raising when the TAM is not clearly defined, your scalability is not clearly defined, you do not have a strong moat or a network effect, you're surely going to fail. If I would have raised earlier, I'm surely going to fail. We need to look at from the business model perspective, is it the business, which need really the fund on that kind of, venture fund coming in right now? That has a lot of things to not do with the business internals maybe, but the market economics as well. And, I always think that if I would have raised earlier, I would have surely failed. I think we need to find the right model, which is the TAM, the network effect, the moat or etc. and scalability path. Only then the fundraise makes sense.
I think we have a question back there, and so we can get the mic back there. Okay. As well. And if anybody else has questions but are afraid to ask, please write down the question on a piece of paper, pass it up to the front, and you can be anonymous. But please go ahead.
Thank you, Gautam. Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Vikramjeet. I'm also a proud, bootstrapped, profitable B2B SaaS company.
Give a big hand, please.
Thank you.
How many bootstrap companies are in the audience? Raise your hand if you're bootstrap. Fantastic,
Wow,
fantastic. Look at that. Actually, we should be sitting in the audience. The audience should be sitting here.
No, we are glad we have representatives there. So my question to you, Nitin, is that you've been running the business for about 8 years now, and this is revenue funded. So have you had a lot of delinquencies in terms of payments, because that impacts a lot? or how you manage all that, number one. And number two is to all the founders here that there could be different areas of motivation why you don't want to raise funds. One is about losing control, other is about experimentation, could be anything, right? So what is your one major reason for not choosing to raise funds?
Thank you for that question. Wonderful question. For the first one, as a business, we were very clear. Even more important than profit is cash flow, right? Profit doesn't make a company run, cash flow does. So I was very eagle-eyed, very careful on cash flow from day one. I feel as much as we are revenue funded, we are also vendor funded. So gotta make sure you make your business that way where your vendors, the ecosystem can end up funding you. To your second question with regards to what was the motivation, I think for me the motivation was, and let me rephrase this. I think when you start a business, you need to know the rules of the game in order to create a strategy which will allow you to figure out what are the people that you need, systems that you need, money that you need. So if you know the rules of the game, there might be, you can't go in with a knife in a gunfight, right? So for us, I was very clear that in our space, it's not necessarily a winner take all. So if there were network effects in my game, I would have definitely gone for funding from day one. I also don't believe that there's a first mover advantage in most businesses. I think in India sometimes second mover or late mover can have a bigger advantage. So here I was, and the biggest reason, hence coming to your question now, was that I felt if I take funding, there's a 90% failure rate for me. And if I don't take funding, I feel, and maybe naively so, there's a 100% chance of success of getting to some number like 500,000 crore, 2,000 crore revenue, and it'll take a little longer. But I felt there was a 100% chance I could get there with time. So I just felt that I would take that route rather than 10% success rate route. That's for me.
We have a question here in the front. Yeah.
Yeah, hi.
A little louder.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, hi, sir. My question is to Sujit ji. That I want to congratulate you and I want to appreciate your efforts and your confidence to how you have raised your kingdom. I seriously appreciate you, sir, and I want to clap for that too also. But I have one question, sir, and it's not only question and it will be a way out for me also. So that's why I'm asking this question for you. My question is that you came from a small village and without a background, with a business background, and you came and you started your own venture. In that venture, how you have arranged the funds. You're not taking the funds from the outside, it's appreciated thing, but how you have arranged the funds for opening the first branch, second branch and third branch, and how the strategy and inspiration you have taken and what is the model of it.
To summarize that, usually my father was in army, he's a soldier. So वैसी family से आने पे आप पता ही है that you need to excel in studies and then एक सरकारी नौकरी ले लो, grade 1 अफसर की, grade 2 अफसर की. Though I have qualified that exam and नौकरी लेने के बाद उसको छोड़ दिया. So वैसा माहौल में आने के बाद क्या है, I did my MBA and went on to work with couple of companies. कुछ founders के पास पैसे थे, कुछ हमारे पैसे थे. क्योंकि क्या था ना, अगर आपने एक certain सरकारी नौकरी मिल गई है, छोड़ दिया है, तो your family is against. नहीं यार, क्या करेगा अपनी लाइफ के साथ? तो जो कुछ पैसा था, वो सारा कुछ बचा के रखा. Someday एक जिद थी दिल में that yes.
So my kind request, sir, can you speak in English, please? I am very bad in Hindi.
Sorry.
Thank you.
So that was some stubbornness or obdurate जो behavior inside था बचपन से ही. नहीं. So whatever we had, जितना भी है, everything we put it back. So you won't believe कि इतना बड़ा business we have. मतलब अगर आप total gross total GMV की बात करेंगे, it is around 500 CR for our stores and website combined. So still our founders don't own a house. We all are on rent. All offices are on rent. So whatever we had, everything we put it back. And whatever we earned, we put it back. सब कुछ ही build कर दिया. So that was not for profit. So we only focused on value. So now एक certain value बना है. क्योंकि when I was speaking to many people outside, they know Winnie and they have ordered from Winnie and hope their experience was good. And we have, in this industry, we have the greatest repeat rate, highest repeat rate, and highest conversion on our website. And I can vouch for that.
Amazing story. But, you know, Sujit also didn't, you worked very hard. You told me you studied physics in college. So he's the most qualified baker I've ever met in my life. A physicist. Any more questions from the audience? We have one here. We have a lot of questions. Great. Please, let's have the mics ready. When they raise their hands, just bring, if we can get 2 mics circulating, it would be better.
Sir, business में अभी like that instead of diluting equity, loan लेना feasible है business में? Raising fund in a form of loan.
Yeah, definitely. अगर आपको लगता है, yes, you will be able to pay. Or if you are creating value, और आपका customers are repeating, so you can trust your customer, you can trust yourself that yes, I am there.
ऐसा कुछ परेशानी नहीं है शायद ज़्यादा अगर एक लोन में ऐसा कोई वो नहीं है कि एक बोलते हैं ना डेब्ट फ्री कंपनी होना चाहिए.
नहीं ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. No risk, no return. Risk तो लेना ही पड़ता है life में. So loan is a part of risk.
Okay, thank you.
क्योंकि क्या है that you are risking yourself. Initially क्या है what phase your company is in. If it is generating good revenue, bank will come after you. You take the loan, you'll pay. अगर आपने रेवेन्यू नहीं जनरेट कर रहे हैं, यू आर पोस्टिंग नेगेटिव ईयर ऑन ईयर, तो बैंक भी आपको लोन नहीं देगा. देन वो लोन आपकी क्रेडिबिलिटी पे आएगा, राइट? सो व्हेन यू हैव वैल्यू कि अपने पास, देन व्हेन यू हैव ट्रस्ट इन योरसेल्फ, लोन ले सकते हैं, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है उसमें.
Thank you, Nitin, you have a very expensive product, so you have a lot of inventory you have to carry. Did you ever have to look into some type of getting loans to carry your product or anything?
Absolutely. I think when you're not taking equity, you must be open to some kind of debt, because the revenue initially may or may not be able to cover the cash flow requirements. So neither would vendors be willing to give you more than a certain number of days to pay the bills. So initially when I moved back, so this is my second startup. You know, my first one I'd shut it down, and then I still had some funds left. And I put those into this. Plus, I even took a loan from my dad. Again, I told him to give out his PF money, and I told him I'll pay you the 11%. And then apart from that, you know, जैसे वो कहते हैं ना, friends, family, and fools. So, मतलब ऐसा कोई, चलो, I'll not make that joke. But you know, I did take loans, including loans from banks as well, and we've now reached a point over the last 1 year where we've majorly repaid our loans, right? So, see, but that's the kind of confidence I had in myself that I'll be able to create this business, and every loan had a very clear repayment cycle in my head, where and how it will get deployed and how will I pay it back. So, Ankit, do you have loans?
Yeah, Ankit, you were telling me earlier, you had a very interesting thing you did with the lifetime, how you were able to basically get a loan from your customers. You can maybe share that story.
Yeah, so that's a very good early days hack that we did, and more from a loan perspective. You know, bank was not ready to give us loan back then. So we had to be innovative to do everything, you know, to find or solve problems. One of the things that worked great for us, so we are in a recurring business. It's like, you know, businesses who take our services pay on month. We eventually realized we're gonna make a lot of money from these businesses over lifetime. How about just to be on a cash flow side, we offer something like a lifetime plan. So lifetime plans, in short, it's like you pay upfront for the larger period. The amount will be refunded to you whenever you leave, but you pay for the basic rental part on it. Now imagine we 2014 it was, and we had 45 odd customers who paid 3 lakh rupees each for this lifetime plan. They were paying because they trusted us, they liked our services, and they were ready to continue this for a long time. Now, 45 customers paying 3 lakh rupees was much larger loan to us. And that's how customer funded us. And we were able to able to use that money to build the business initially. That's one of the hack.
Amazing hack.
Can I
Richard,
add
please.
an anecdote? So when my previous startup shut down, I told myself, Nitin, ye fir se nahi. Not like this. This time if you do it, please make sure you have 3 things in place. At least minimum 1 crore. At least 2 other co-founders with you. It's a very lonely job. And third, have some mentors who can tell you, give you direction, because otherwise it will take 3 times the amount of time and 3 times the amount of money. Unfortunately, I didn't get the money. Couldn't even figure out 1 crore. Forget 50 lakh also. I couldn't find any co-founders that I could gel well with and who could add value. I wasn't lucky enough to run into mentors. But yet I did it. So, I know all of you guys over here who are running bootstrapped businesses, you'll be thinking about funds. But hey, scarcity is the name of the game, right? And I think we get stronger and value things more when there is scarcity. I really agree with Ankit, what Ankit was saying earlier. If I had raised money at that stage, the company, you might know the brand name, but it would be a dead company. Wo company abhi nahi hoti, 90% chance. It would not be there today. So because I always felt the bottleneck was not the money, the bottleneck was me. Today I don't feel that. Today I feel that I have evolved and I would deploy funds, far better compared to those days.
That's good. Question up there, if we get the microphone. Please. Go ahead.
सर एक क्वेश्चन है इसी के कंटिन्यूशन में जैसे अभी एक होता है कि अगर इक्विटी डाइल्यूट नहीं कर रहे हैं देन डेफिनेटली यू आर द 100% ऑफ द ओनर और द को-फाउंडर्स राइट एज वी सी अपार्ट जैसे SAP है सॉरी सेल्सफोर्स 16 लाख करोड़ का कंपनी है और उसके ओनर के पास में शायद 3% इक्विटी है उसका दैट वुड बी अराउंड 50,000 करोड़ आई वांट टू नो मतलब एक होता है कि 100% स्टेक रख करके बिजनेस करना ज़्यादा बेटर है एज अ को-फाउंडर्स यू आर डूइंग एक है कि चलो ठीक है कंपनी का वैल्यूएशन जैसे 3% भी 16 लाख करोड़ का 50,000 करोड़ के लमसम होता है then what would the better run
But so these guys have chosen their own path. I think it really depends on the entrepreneur which path you want to do. So we are, the whole day you've been hearing about funded companies. And I think one reason we put this panel together is to hear the other side. Ki this is a different path. Now, better path, worse path, I don't know, but you can all comment on your...
I think initial में नहीं चाहिए because you are building a business. लेकिन for scale, if you want to become a worldwide company, worldwide name, definitely you need money for that. Or you need money for cash flows, you need money for purchasing assets, बहुत सारी चीज़ों में. So once you are at that level, definitely you need to raise fund. चाहिए. Otherwise IPO ले आते हैं लोग.
Actually, so one of your competitors, Ferns and Pedal, which has been around how many years? 22? 30 years, just raised capital this year. So when we say bootstrap, you're bootstrapped for now, but that doesn't mean it is bootstrap for lifetime. You understand?
yes
It doesn't mean that's the end.
So bootstrap is not the opposite way of being funded. It's an alternate route. It's not, that we hate funding, or it's not that we do not want to dilute at the large, at least from my perspective. It's just an alternate route. When we are not able to raise fund or probably find a larger TAM, etc. But I continue to believe in this problem. And continue to do that. Who knows, someday I'll be at again 3% and sharing rest with the rest of the investor and creating wealth for all of them. It's not an opposite of that. It's just believing on what we are, and there is a route that you can still build a business. If investors might not be interested at that point, you can still build the business if you believe in it. That's it.
thank you
Let's get another
scaling
question in
point
the
of view,
audience.
Sharing and scaring is the way. Last में तो चाहिए ही चाहिए.
I think there's a question right there. Oh, actually, can we get a question in the back, if you don't mind, because the poor people in the back never get to ask questions. So, sabse piche. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, hi sir. I am Akash Aman and I am from XLRA. So basically my question is, I am diverting from the topic of finance, coming to the ideation stage of business. So basically, should we focus, like start the business just with the solution we are having, or we should formulate a complete business model with its branding and then start the business? So what's your call on the starting of the business?
Let's have one person answer, whoever wants.
So, philosophy which I follow, if you can run, run. If you can walk, walk. If you can crawl, crawl. Whatever it takes to move ahead, just do that. If you have an idea, you believe in it, whatever it takes to move ahead, move ahead.
Okay, so next question, please. Okay, while we're finding the next question, I'm going to ask something for the panel, but if we could just get the next question set. One of the advantages, to be honest, of venture capital or investors is, I'm going to say, accountability and governance. Because what happens is you have to report to somebody what's happening, give your plan, and they sometimes can, if with the right investor, they can create that discipline. How when you're not, don't have investors, how do you create that governance and discipline, and do you struggle with that? And Sujit, I'll start with you, if you don't mind, and go down.
Yeah, definitely. That is a struggle point. Because क्या है ना कि we didn't know कि what to do. We are not coming from a big company having plentiful of experience, जो system बना सके, knowledge बना सके. But the thing is, कि first we make a road, and then we figure it out, discovered that ये road नहीं जा रहा, it is not leading it. Then you close that road and you find another one. So accountability and this thing comes with a system, with a time. From day one, you have to involve with everything. But slowly, and once you get to know about the business, the process, and then isko karne se ye ho jayega that yes, if this should be in place. So, and it comes by, and being from a small place, the talent that we get, so initially they are very raw. So you will be able to reform that talent. So they are not from a very big school. So वो किसी remote location से आए हुए होंगे. So you can do that because they are very raw. And once they start taking the responsibility and they feel the ownership, because you need to make your employees believe that yes, you are a family. And we have been doing that. So that has solved the problem for us.
We're running out of time, so just be quick, but please.
Yeah, so I would suggest, even if no investors, form an advisory board. That's very important to set you in the accountability at a larger level. From the day one, you have to run it professionally, whether investors or not.
And I think you've hit the, perfect, that's the biggest problem, I think. I think when there's no one keeping you accountable, and you are the biggest bottleneck of the organization, that can be the biggest problem. And I agree with Ankit, board of advisors can really help. If I tell my personal story, there were at least 2 years because of personal tragedies where I got derailed. And had there been a board over there, instead of that derailment happening for 6 months, I would have been back on track in about 1.5 months. So that's time lost.
Everyone is not fortunate enough to have advisors.
One question there, please.
I have a question. So your growth story is great and you're growing. So how do you visualize yourself in the future? Would you like to go for an IPO, or you would continue with your own funds and continue with that? Why or why not?
So what is the future vision? And is IPO a possibility?
So, IPO is not on my cards, for sure, unless the need arises as much. Apart from that, I think we would be open to raising funding in the future, because we do feel that we could use money now in a much better way than we would have used it 9 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think, my focus right now is to grow, and 5 years or a long plan is to be on a different orbit of what we are right now. Now, IPO or other opportunities, I generally get opportunistic in there. What is the path which will help me grow further? And based on the opportunity we have with the ecosystem, we have with the market, I decide on that. But ultimate truth is, for me, changing orbit every couple of years is what matters.
So down the line, 5 years times, IPO is a no. But yes, after that, definitely once we'll reach to that level where we are globally present, and definitely, we want to share it with everybody, the success of ours. So then becomes must. Because in IPO, people of India, they are customers, many people who have liked the brand, disliked the brand, they would like to be a part of that family that we are building. So in long term, definitely we would like to go for the IPO. But yes, in near 5 years time frame, we want to grow fast, and we are pretty open for funding, and also we are evaluating a couple of them as of now.
Well, I just want to thank the panelists and thank the audience, everybody. Please, let's give a big hand to our panelists, and thank you for
Can
everything.
I add a small story at the end? There was a Stanford study that I read about this marshmallow test, where they gave toddlers a marshmallow, and if they could just not eat it for a little while the tester goes away, and they'll get 2 if they've not eaten it when they come back. And those toddlers, they made very funny faces because they had to control themselves. We have been in the marshmallow test for the last 9 years. So that's
Thank
who
you.
we are.
But any,
So,
any other closing
multiple
words? I want to give
marshmallows
everybody an
coming back.
opportunity to say a final word. Ankit, any final remarks? Imagine, you were in the audience 10 years ago when you were starting. What would you say to your older self? Younger self, sorry.
Yeah, of course. So I think, what I neglected and, what I would say myself is experiment more. Do not get fixed up on something. Just keep on exploring what are the ways. Keep on hustling better, what I've done 10 years back.
Somewhere you need to be obstinate, because when you are obstinate, when you are stubborn, you make things happen. So don't get demoralized, funding nahi mili, ye hai, wo hai. You believe in that idea, क्योंकि आपने जो idea आया होगा, that is a reflection of society. You have faced some problem, you have thought about something, आपके पास वो supply है, then supply will create its own demand. So be obstinate, जिद्दी बनना है, बिल्कुल बनना है, और हर चीज के लिए लड़ना है. Then you will be there one day.
Absolutely.
So if you have a Ziddi child, that could be a future entrepreneur.
True.
So, I think one thing with all the panelists, you can see how much resilience and perseverance they have. And, there's an expression that says, fortune favors the bold. And I think that's a very fitting way to end that, all of you, we're all on this journey together. And, you guys will be available. Please come up, ask questions, and, they make themselves available to everybody here. And thank you, everyone. I'm really honored to be the moderator, and we just thank the audience for taking the time to come, and thank you, the panelists. Really appreciate you coming. And Sujit, you came this morning only. Came by train? Yeah, he came by train just to spend his time here away from his business. And these guys all work so hard, and to take time out of their business to come here is really a big sacrifice. I really just want to acknowledge that and respect that. So thank you, everyone. Please give a big hand to our
everyone.
panelists.
Thank you, Gautam.
Terrific.
Thank you,
A big hand there. Big hand to the audience too for absolutely the most interactive session in the day, and that speaks for Gautam's veteran experience, not just in the investment ecosystem, but here at TIE. He's been a fellow organizer along with me for the last 10 or 11 years. Thank you very much again, and thank you all very much for being here through the day and staying on.